I'd like to welcome with me right now Captain Tony Bomarito. He is, of course, the Public Information Officer for the Orange County Fire Authority. Good to see you, sir.
Pleasure to be back. Thank you.
And our subject this time around is get around to the holidays, and we want to talk about safety. We want people to be safe during the holidays, and a lot of times there's a lot of, particularly this time of the year, a lot of pitfalls that can happen, and it just takes a little bit of common sense.
It does. Common sense being the key word.
Yeah.
And we see an increase in cooking fires and fires in general around the holidays. So it's important we put this social media campaign out for 6 weeks, highlighting some of our safety topics, but it's really important to get this message out.
Yeah, and so many things that can go wrong that don't need to be. We have this poster that you folks sent us here, and some of it are kind of obvious that people should pay attention to.
Yeah, so if you see there, so electrical hazards becomes a big issue during the holidays because we want to put all those lights together on one socket or one outlet, and it's not designed for that.
Right.
So I had sent some pictures of some correct ways. This is what not to do.
Right.
So these multi-plug adapters, which you see in the lower left-hand corner, is what we don't want to do because basically it's overloading one outlet. And you see all these other things plugged into one. There's correct ways to do it with a power strip, surge protector. It is another layer of defense, so to speak. It doesn't solve the problem. We don't want to overload those power strips, but it avoids something like this.
Yeah, and in the next slide, I added this one. I'm going to talk to you about this, the anchor one.
Okay.
Because the first one you see over here is the one that you sent me, which is the surge protection. But you also want to make sure, if I'm not mistaken, that you want the overload detector on there. Surge protection is totally different.
Yeah, so that's correct. So a surge protector, basically what that does is you can put your bigger electronic items, your computers, your TVs, which are very important. And we don't have electrical storms, so to speak, but we do have surge and electrical activity once in a while. And these surge protectors actually protect your equipment from frying, so to speak. So that's why we have these surge protectors. You'll see in that lower left-hand corner, the light and the protected means that's a surge protector. But you also want these ones that have basically a shutoff, so to speak, in layman's terms. So we are able to shut down that outlet quickly, and it receives the brunt of the electrical damage, so to speak.
Now this one, I came across this, was on wirecutter.com. This is by Anchor. Anchor's a really known brand. They do a lot of Apple and Android approved charging devices, all kinds of stuff. But this is a new one that they have here, and this is about 2 inches square, and it's got 3 AC outlets and 3 USB. But here's the point, advanced safety features that I love. It has an overload protection built in, obviously has surge protection, but that's what I like. It has, if you can see, the little diagram with the cover off. So it has that in there, and the cost of this is $20.
Yeah.
So, and it's got a very thick cord on it, and especially it's good for your devices and things like that. I wouldn't be plugging a toaster into it, but it does have an overload protection. So,
and so the biggest thing when we put these power strips in, we don't want to use them. It's not supposed to be permanent. It's supposed to be temporary.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't want to plug this into your toaster and think that that's going to be your outlet for your toaster. So I just want to stress that importance. So
very important.
So we still want to use those outlets on the wall. We just don't want to overload them. We want that surge protection, but we just don't want to overload those either. Yeah,
and there's a reason why your kitchen appliances only have cords that are like 2 feet long on them or whatever they are.
Exactly.
As far as light safety, nowadays, LED lights, you can string a lot together, but if you have older lights, it's so cheap to buy new LED approved lights nowadays. I would get rid of the old ones because the incandescent, they look nice, but the bulbs, besides energy, they get really hot.
It's a great suggestion. We used to ask that you don't connect more than 3 lines together because of the load that it puts there, and it'll most likely trip the breaker because it's just too much load on those older lights. Those LED lights, you can put hundreds of lights on one outlet with no problem at all. They burn longer, they're more efficient, so your electric bill's less during the holidays. Much better idea to buy those LED bulbs.
Yeah, speaking of cooking, we're gonna, this is a video you sent us, and a grease fire, and of course this is a mannequin here. It's not you standing there, right? No. So let's run this here, but you know, you've talked about this all the time, and how, you know, how important it is to be safe. And people do this, they put water on a grease fire.
Yeah, so cooking fires increase during the holidays. They're still the leading cause of fires, fire injuries, and fire deaths in Orange County. So this is the #1 don't do, put water on a grease fire. It will never put a grease fire out. You need to have a whole lot of water, but it's still very highly likely that it's going to spray up like this and cause damage. So the reason I put that mannequin there, we've done these demonstrations in the past, but until you actually see what it does of how it expands, that water vapor expands and brings that hot oil and fire up into your face.
Right.
So that's why I put the mannequin there, so it's a perfect example.
Best thing to do, if you can do it, put a cover on it.
Yeah. So
obviously turn off the stove.
Yeah, so #1, if you don't have to reach over the heat, if your dials are on the front of the stove, turn the heat off, put a lid on it. If you can't do that, we ask that you have a dry chemical extinguisher.
Yes.
And if you can't do that, obviously get out of the house and call 911.
Okay, and here's, we're going to show this one, and this is what happens obviously with the kind of lights you were talking about that are not in great condition.
Exactly.
And how fast all this stuff will go up.
And you're talking under 30 seconds, this fire.
Wow.
So we're probably maybe 10 seconds into this fire right now from when it started with a dry Christmas tree. So you see the importance of watering your tree, disposing of your tree very quickly after Christmas, and having no overloaded electrical. And the other thing we have in here, if you see a little black thing under the table, it's a space heater.
Oh,
so I know a lot of our seniors have space heaters. We ask that you keep those space heaters 3 feet from anything flammable. We call it 3 feet from heat.
Right, and you know the example with the tree, look just what happened last month with all the California wildfires that the trees are dry. That's how quick they exploded. But if you have a dry Christmas tree like that, I know people still like to buy some of the real trees, but
it's
you know,
devastating and tragic.
Yeah.
It's gonna destroy your home. I'm not saying live Christmas trees destroy your home, but you need to keep up on it. Water them and make sure the electrical is safe around the tree.
Yeah. Now, getting back to the grease fire, you talked about a fire extinguisher. I have one. I keep it under my sink, and I have one out in my garage. You can buy a 2-pack. You go to Home Depot, whatever. They're $20 for a 2-pack or something. Tell me the ones that people should be buying, what they should be looking for.
So it's a dry chemical or Class B fire extinguisher. So Class B basically means a flammable liquid fire, so it's safe to put on a flammable liquid. So grease fire is just like a gasoline fire. It's a flammable liquid. Water, all water's going to do is spread the fire. So you need something to smother that fire. So we ask that a dry chemical or a Class B fire extinguisher, you can go to Home Depot or Lowe's or anything like that. It says it right on there, this is safe for Class B fires. And you're right, they're not super expensive, but it could save your life.
Okay, and I think the ones I have are, say, Class A, B, and C on them.
Yeah, so that would be a powder extinguisher.
Yeah.
So a lot of these dry chemical extinguishers, a Class A fire is your normal combustibles, wood and paper. So this will also work on that by smothering the fire. But a Class B extinguisher will only work, or a Class B fire, you need a Class B fire extinguisher.
Okay.
A flammable liquid, Class B fire, you need a Class B fire extinguisher for it.
Okay. One other thing I want to ask about, in fact, this was on the news either this morning or yesterday, somewhere else, some other state, a family died of carbon monoxide. And it wasn't their heat or anything like that. They were, maybe lack of funds, whatever they did. They had something burning in their home, like a barbecue they brought in or something to heat the home. I don't think people would do that here. However, you can buy the carbon monoxide detectors, right?
That's correct. So I think the new state law is that all new construction requires a carbon monoxide detector or alarm. So you should have that in your house.
Yeah.
Just with you can actually buy a smoke alarm with a carbon monoxide. It's all in one, so you don't have to worry about it. It's one battery and you don't have to keep walking around checking all your batteries, because no doubt you're gonna hear that chirp.
Yeah.
And you're gonna wonder which smoke alarm it's coming from. So you can get those combo smoke alarm, carbon monoxide detector, but that is also a lifesaver.
Yeah, and I know I don't know, 3 years ago, whenever it was, we had a new HVAC system put in our house, and that was, they put them in. They put the smoke detectors in. We already had some. We already had a carbon monoxide, but they put those in as well, and that was, we're going, oh, well, that's really nice of you to do. And they go, well, it's required of us to do.
Right. It finally became law, because just like everything else, people won't do it unless you make it a law. Just like the helmets when you ride your motorcycle. Probably people wouldn't be wearing helmets if they didn't make it a law. So we have to make it a law to basically save lives.
Yeah, and ours are all, they all got put in at the same time. They're all the 10-year lithium batteries. So I know, what about 6 years from now, we're going to have a house full of chirps going on.
Yeah, exactly.
But actually, you've just replaced the whole unit.
Yeah, and that's another thing. If you don't have those 10-year alarms,
I'm just waiting for it.
It's annoying because if you have multiple alarms or smoke alarms in there, you never know which one. It's usually the last one you disconnect and try to change the battery. But if you don't have those long-term 10-year smoke alarms, make sure you test your smoke alarm once a month.
Yeah, and what I do, just because it's the type of thing I do, is I date them. So I have it listed somewhere. So I know whatever he is 5 years from now or something like that, I'm just going to throw them all away and get new ones or recycle them, whatever they do.
And I'll tell you a little funny story. I actually change my smoke alarms when they turn yellow. You know how they're white and then they fade yellow, brown?
Yeah.
Usually after 3 or 4 years.
Yes.
I end up changing mine because I want them white because I have the ceilings white. So that's how I know when to change mine.
Yeah, there you go. Another thing I want to talk about is Spark of Love. You guys work with that campaign every year, all the Orange County Fire Authority, really all the fire departments, no matter where you are in Southern California, people come by, drop off toys and stuff for kids, right?
Yeah, we partner with KEBC. All your local Orange County and Southern California fire stations will accept a new unwrapped toy, and it's all donations. It all goes to the Spark of Love, and goes to the needy or the less fortunate, I guess. Really, really important program. We do it every year. We partner with KABC, so we're very proud of that. Any Orange County fire station, you can drop a toy off and we'll take it.
Yeah, and you folks, and all the fire departments do that and do such a great job, and you can take it right over here to Station 22. We may have a bin in the lobby here. I know sometimes we do as well, that 22 drops off. And like you said, unwrapped toys and all kinds of things. And I always tell people, also think of teenagers, because a lot of times people forget that, sports equipment and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. That is one of the things we suggest, is that sporting equipment. It's stuff we haven't seen in the past, and people tend to get the younger kid toys. So sporting equipment is a perfect example of something that you might consider.
Yeah, very good. Anything else you want to add for today?
We have New Year's Eve coming up. There's
another one.
Yeah, that's the final week of our social media campaign. If you are on social media, you can follow us on Instagram. We put these educational infographics and videos like this up on there. I know not everyone's on social media, but with New Year's Eve coming up, if you go out, just be aware of your situation. Make sure you know of any exits, and make sure you know how to get out if you're out in a public place, if there was an emergency. And again, there's nothing wrong with just staying home and watching TV and watching the ball drop on TV. That's what I'll be doing. All
right, that's probably what, usually my daughter and I go to RSM, the city puts something on, then we go home, and that's what we do. We watch.
The East Coast time, so you're in bed by 9.
Yeah, no, she likes staying up till midnight.
Oh, okay.
She does. She's been doing that since she's like 7 years old. She can stay up. So
better than me.
Yeah. Hey, Captain, thank you very much. Say hi to everyone for me.
I will.
I appreciate you coming on. All important information, and stay safe, right?
Yeah.
All right. Good to see you. We'll be right back.